Hey, what's going on, everyone? Vig here for SerpentX Tech, and I just want to make sure that you, the end user, have updated your BitAxe. There's a vulnerability that has been patched, but you do need to update your BitAxe, and I want to talk about that, at least the vulnerability, and then show you how to do it. It's very simple, very easy. If you're familiar with the channel, we've played around with a lot of ESP miners, but on X, our boy posted about it, talking about the cross-site request forgery, or CSRF vulnerability, right? Basically, what it does is, because most browsers have support for JavaScript, if you go to a malicious website, it can basically send requests to your devices on a local network, right? So you might go to the website and nothing happens on the main computer you're utilizing, but then it sends commands, right? Because there's open API available for the BitAxe for us to manage our BitAxes through the Axe OS. It could send requests and change stuff, change settings, change configuration, change the wallet it's mining to. And so that vulnerability has been patched. And long story short, you just need to make sure that you update. But basically, the JavaScript from a malicious website that is running on your computer does include some headers indicating what's happening. And the patch, what it does now is it looks at those headers to determine if the request is coming from a device on your local network rather than an outside source. And if it is coming from an outside source, it's going to reject it. So if you haven't updated, please update. Many of you probably weren't impacted by this, but some of you may have been. So just check your settings. If you see a different wallet address, a different server address, a different everything, and your Axe OS, hasn't been showing up on your pool, then that's probably why. Anyways, because it's looking, the headers are being rejected when it's an outside source and looking only locally. What could happen is maybe you're roaming the wild, you're out there and you're trying to remote in to manage your devices. Well, because you're coming from an outside IP, outside source, that could cause some issues depending on how your network's set up. However, throughout their testing, they haven't had any issues. And if you are experiencing any issues, especially after the update, please let them know, and they will get on it. And I'll link everything down in the description. Here's the GitHub for it. If we come here, we'll see a bunch of different files. Now, technically, I could just get this espminer.bin and this www.bin. Both are the files I need, but I'm going to grab the one for my BitAxe, which is 204. How did I find that out? Well, if I go to my BitAxe, you will see here, if I go to logs, there's a board version number. That's the board version that I'm on. BM1366 is the model or the chip that I'm utilizing. So this is my board version. That's the one I'm going to get. Again, I could just use the bottom two right here. The ESP-miner is the actual firmware. The www bin is the GUI, right? The interface you're interacting with. And if we come to, I believe, settings on either my NerdAxe or my BitAxe, you can see down here at the bottom, it's going to say this is the latest release. Provide me an ESP miner and a bin file. Now, I could just click it, and when I click it, what you're going to see here is in the upper right, it's going to pop up and say dangerous file. Do you want to keep, download, discard, whatever? In your case, you could go ahead and keep it, but instead, I'm just going to go straight to the GitHub. So I'm just going to delete it, and I'm just going to go straight to the GitHub and grab the files that I need. Also, for NerdAxes, I like to use flasher.bitronics store, but there's also a GitHub for that as well. But focusing just on the BitAxe, I'm going to go ahead and grab this ESP miner for mine. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Update Firmware. You can see I got folders here for my NerdAxe and my BitAxe. So here's my NerdAxe. I already got the latest version, which, by the way, the latest version, I believe, is very similar. It is, let me see here, check. Yeah, version 2.15, ESP miner, www bin, same thing. So I already got the latest version for my NerdAxe. I'm just going to hang tight on that because I'm focusing on the BitAxe. And if I come here, this is telling me this is the latest release, but I'm going to go to the GitHub, download that, and now I can go ahead and update my firmware. The only reason I know this is my BitAxe is the IP and obviously the worker name. Hit browse, choose ESP miner for the correct one, right? And you can see I got a bunch of different versions here. So 250 is the one I want, model number 204. I'm going to click on ESP miner, hit open, and now it's going to update. Now, this screen may not update for you But what you want to do is just refresh it after a while. Give it about a few minutes. The device is going to restart and everything like that. And if it doesn't restart, go ahead and manually restart it. But give it a minute. You can always grab your IP, right? Give it a second. Put that in on a different browser tab. And you can see it's taking a minute to load because it's thinking. It's updating the firmware. So after this gets done and I refresh and it comes up, I'm just going to manually restart it, which is showing up in the upper right-hand corner, this restart button. And then this miner is up to date with the latest firmware. Then I can go back into the bottom, right? I'm using my NerdAxe as an example, is to update the GUI, the UI that we're using to manage our BitAxe and NerdAxe. And I'm going to update using the www.bin file. So I just have to do the same thing, browse, www.bin, and apply, and then we're good to go. But right now we need to wait for the firmware. There's the firmware, that's done. Settings again, come bottom right, browse, www.bin, open, and again, it's going to update and everything. But after it updates, right, even if you refresh the browser and everything looks good, go ahead and restart your device either manually by turning off the power or hitting the restart button in the upper right hand corner. The biggest thing is that you guys are keeping your stuff up to date. The BitAxe team, the NerdAxe team, a lot of the ESP miner crew out there have been doing a really great job of not only contributing, right? Look at how many contributors on this. Not only contributing, but making sure that these little ESP miners, these little nano or micro miners, whatever you want to call them, that allow you to solo mine Bitcoin. And it is a lottery, not a guarantee you win a Bitcoin block, but we have seen a BitAxe win a Bitcoin block with so little hash rate. So it is possible, just very, very unlikely and very, very rare. And so they're doing their best to keep you guys safe. At time of filming, this update only came out 2 days ago, which would have put it on January 15th. But by the time you're watching this, it's going to be 3, 5, 6 days afterwards. So just update your BitAxe. Make sure you're safe and sound. Double check your settings. If you go to your settings and you see there's a different address, a different server, a different everything, then you probably had a malicious website basically change your settings on you, and that's not good. So it's good to double check everything. Here's the new Axe OS, and you can see the difference between the OG and the new. Looks really, really good. Good job, team. We got more information here. On the left-hand side, I didn't have a network. Now I do have a network. I can still manage my swarm, and then here's the dashboard with a little bit more refinement and fine-tunability. I love it. Looks good. It gives me good information, good data, doing great things, and I appreciate it very much. Still got our logs to where we can show it and keep an eye on things. But now our BitAxe is updated, and that vulnerability shouldn't impact us. But again, the team continues to optimize, revise, and mitigate any miscellaneous issues, vulnerabilities, stuff like that. So just update your BitAxe and update your NerdAxe as soon as you possibly can. If you have any questions or you're experiencing issues, as they mentioned on X, which I'll have linked down in the description, report back your experience and they should be able to work to resolve it. But thank you so much for clicking on this video, and do me a favor on the way out. Hit that like button, get subscribed, hit the notification bell to stay up to date. So let's check out additional links in the description to help support channel and what we do here. Like to some of my partners who might be selling a BitAxe or NerdAxe, I would advise you to build your own though, but I'll leave them down there so you can choose what you want. And you all just have yourself a wonderful day. Take care. I'll catch you next one.